everybody, my name's Lily, and I want to share a great idea with you for a teenage spy detective story. And this blockbuster really happened to me in high school. I came out of that story only full of benefits, and that only confirms my professional luck. But don't repeat this at home, okay? In high school, we got a new math teacher to substitute. The previous one was too young, and she took maternity leave for 3 years. Experience bonuses and some other stuff, plus unused vacations over the years. So she moved to the seaside with her husband, and we got a new young lady who turned out to be such a bad teacher. She was a real beast with breasts, ruthless and disgusting. This math teacher had a husband who was also a teacher at our school, but he taught PE. I've never seen a more reserved and downtrodden man before. He was afraid of her. I don't even think he went to the bathroom without her permission. After talking with her, we just started going to the bathroom. I mean, right in our pants. The only louder and nastier person was the school principal, but since he didn't teach anything, we could tolerate him. However, he didn't follow school protocols, so we suffered greatly from his inactions. If some of you don't know, according to protocol, the principal should listen to the student council decisions. He should reevaluate a situation for those who believe their assessment was unfair. Well, and a bunch of other small things. We complained about the math teacher altogether. I mean, really, all the high school students signed a petition for her dismissal. We even sent these papers to the Department of Education. But of course, we were ignored everywhere. Why did we do this? The fact is, she never gave us the assessments we deserved. She rarely gave anyone B's, even though straight-A students and nerds could get F's, simply because she didn't like them personally. It's clear that a teacher who works for a long time and is engaged in a science knows the content better than the most diligent student. Well, not better. This teacher knows it perfectly, and he or she can fill up anyone anytime. For this, there is always a right to retake it with a special commission. But our principal is not the case. Yeah. He kept saying we weren't trying hard enough. And the math lady is a great teacher and she's so charming. But after all, for many students, their higher education depended on the final total score. We would have been tormented more, especially since no one cared about our grades, except us. But suddenly, His Majesty, the anecdote intervened, or I would say, my natural luck, that he decided to play along with me. That day, as one of the representatives of the student council, decided to try again and reach out to the principal. But I chose to do this not during school time, but in the evening, when all classes were already over. I knew for sure he was still at school. I saw his car in the parking lot. I just didn't know what I was going to see in his office, right on his desk. I knocked politely and opened the door, and here I saw a picture which can usually be seen on adult websites. 2 naked bodies intertwined in a fit of passion right on the desk. It was the principal and our new math lady. I was so stunned that I just said hello to them and quietly went out into the hallway. I just mechanically noted that for a 30-year-old woman, she had great breasts. And then there was a scandal. Of course, they immediately finished their rendezvous and dragged me back to the office, threatening me with all the possible punishments. I was still in shock, but I said I went to the principal's office with the camera on my phone turned on. I wanted to record our conversation with the principal for the Department of Education. Instead, I recorded an adult video. Of course, they immediately started asking me to delete everything, promising I would be expelled, quartered, and buried in the schoolyard. But I must say, usually I'm not so brave and courageous. It was just because of my adrenaline. It seemed to me they were in no position to put forward their demands. And I promised that, of course, I would not delete anything. On the contrary, I would show this video to everyone, including the Department of Education representatives and our PE teacher, who was also the math teacher's husband, by the way. They stopped yelling, yeah, but then there was a very interesting dialogue between a young blackmailer, me, and two immoral people, which was very amazing and informative. We agreed that the math teacher would stop tormenting kids, give them the grades they really deserved, and the principal would finally stand up and start doing something for the school's benefit. After graduation, I would delete their cute home video. Deal? The next day, all the students really carried me on their arms. The math lady, through her teeth, filled with hatred, but honestly gave B's and A's to the guys. And the principal signed our petition to retake all other dishonest tests before the special commission. I told everyone I was going to negotiate with the principal, but they thought it was my power of persuasion. But I knew it was because of a cute little video on my phone. Alas, the blackmail did not last long. Maybe it's all because the math teacher was deprived of her main pleasure, kids tormenting. Or maybe the principal was really afraid of getting into trouble. Anyway, a year later, a new teacher came to replace her, and the previous one just quit. The new math teacher turned out to be a really good one, so everyone quickly gained the grades that they deserved. And after graduation, they entered the colleges they wanted to with no worries. Of course, I deleted the video as promised. At graduation, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong to blackmail the principal. But you know, if it wasn't for my anecdote, many people would really lose an opportunity to study well because they simply couldn't fix all the scores for the whole school year, including me. Look for the moral of the story for yourself. Write in the comments what you would do in my shoes. I just want to warn you that you shouldn't look for any dirt on your teachers for the purpose of blackmailing them, because it really may have a bad ending.
Hi all, I'm Donna, the horrible maths teacher who was hated by each and every student. I'm here to tell you my version of events. Well, for starters, I never wanted to become a school teacher in the first place. I've got a nice education and a lot of experience in teaching, that's true. I never actually taught anyone under 18 before. I was a lecturer at a state university and was used to interacting with much more conscientious people, definitely more mature than teenagers. But at one point, I was asked to become a substitute teacher. My close friend and my husband both literally begged me to do so I was pressured into it, and I had no grounds to refuse. And to think that at that time I considered it a great experience and a change of pace. If I knew how everything would turn out, I'd flatly reject their offer at once. Well, teaching children was a new, non-standard experience of sorts. You know, I was used to lecturing in front of an adult audience that had chosen my subject by their own will. Now I had to make a crowd of unruly teenagers study maths. Quite a quest in itself regarding the fact that no one in the class actually needed it, or to be honest, was very good at it. Of course, I often got quite angry, wouldn't you? I've told you before that I'm not a school teacher. I don't really know how to communicate with teenagers. I tried at first to lecture as I was used to, but no avail. That's why I finally decided to be strict. All in all, I was sure that my time there would end soon, and I figured I would try and cram in as much knowledge into those empty heads of theirs before I left. I paid no mind to their emotional states. At least I found some comfort in Mark's company. Mark was my university classmate who ended up as the school's headmaster. We've got a non-committal relationship, just a small affair of two adults. I'm not proud of it, of course. Still, life is life, and such things are just necessary sometimes. Things were slowly getting better. By trial and error, I understood how to communicate with children, even earned some respect. Even my relationship with my husband got better. I eventually stopped talking about divorce. And then everything went to hell. Lily's video was extremely dangerous, worse than any bomb could have been. She would have destroyed everything if she wished to, my and Mark's careers, families, reputations. If our superiors saw that, they'd fire us in the blink of an eye. Furthermore, they'd ban us from working with children ever again. And of course, both my husband and Mark's wife would definitely leave us. Lily had no idea about the true power of her video. Still, the schoolgirl understood enough to blackmail us. We had no choice but to agree to her terms and hope that she'd never order us to do something horrible. That marked the beginning of my personal nightmare. I don't know what Lily asked of Mark, but the girl demanded of me to give all her classmates and friends only A+. And of course, Lily demanded to be made the honor student. I was able to do so, yet I felt horribly when I was forced to give A's to those poor kids who were just sort of standing there with a stupid smile and doing nothing. Besides that, I was terrified by Lily. I was afraid to reprimand any student. I had no idea how far Lily was willing to go, and I had no desire to test her tolerance. In no time, all the other teachers were suspicious of me. Now I gave my students nothing but the best grades, yet the citywide tests showed that the kids were actually terrible at maths. My education specialist reputation was pretty much ruined from then on. Besides, I was somehow sure that my colleagues knew everything and despised me for conforming to Lily's wishes. Soon I found myself unable to enter my classroom. Each day I went into hysterics. I cried a lot. My hands were shaking and my feet were trembling. I had trouble with sleep. I got these large bags under both of my eyes. Finally, I sought some medical attention, and the doctor diagnosed me with anorexia nervosa. Worst thing is that I did nothing to deserve such a torture. Of course, my affair with Mark was bad, but Lily wasn't punishing me for that. She was punishing me for being too strict with her peers. Such utter nonsense. Finally, a year passes and I was now free to leave school if I wanted. Of course, Mark wasn't too glad to see me go, but I wanted my life back and couldn't care less about his wishes. I was free now and it felt great. Still, I had no strength in me to return to lecturing. My husband supported me through it all, despite our disagreements, and now I'm undergoing some medical treatments and therapy in a specialized clinic. I'm slowly getting rid of my anxiety. I didn't really know whether I want to be a lecturer anymore. Maybe I should choose another career. And of course, now I won't go anywhere near kids or someone else's husband. What do you think? Who's right here, and who's wrong? What would you do if you were Lily, and what do you think you would do if you were Donna? Tell us your opinions in the comment section below. Like the video, share the story with your friends, and we'll see you next time.